just tell me a little bit about where you grew up and what your neighborhood was like?
I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan in 1973. And I was raised by Caribbean parents. My dad was Guyanese and my mother was West Indian.
Can you just tell me where you grew up?
In Detroit. We used to live in Detroit.
I grew up on the west side of Detroit, and it was a nice neighborhood.
Where did you two grow up?
I lived in Ontario. I lived in a little village of 360 people. That's where I grew up.
What is the name of that village?
Omimi.
I was born in China, lived in China for a while, went to Canada, lived in Canada for a while, and come down to the United States.
Can you tell me a little bit about where you grew up and what your neighborhood in Metro Detroit was like back then?
Okay. I was born and raised in Detroit on the west side, Southfield and Warrendale area, which was predominantly back then when I was growing up, it was more of a Polish neighborhood. My grandparents lived close by, one like 5 blocks away, and the other my next door. And we had a lot of fun, when we were kids.
What was your schooling and then your career?
Well, I went to Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic School, and then I worked at Detroit Bank and Trust, Plymouth Canton Schools, and then I worked at U of M for 30 years. U of M, I did medical transcription, medical billing, and the secretary to 3 doctors.
Can you tell me what it was like growing up in Detroit?
We played in the street, and they would close the street, so we wouldn't get hurt. We played it in the street that, kick the can.
I hear this game, kick the can, all the time. What is kick the can?
Oh, well, we used to, they would close the street, and they would put a can, and we would kick it.
I grew up in the restaurant business.
Okay. What kind of restaurants?
Chinese restaurant. We serve everything. In Canada, we serve everything.
Yeah, like what?
We serve steaks, we serve all kinds of stuff.
What made you want to marry David?
Because he was good to me.
What are some funny moments that you have working at the restaurant together?
The restaurant business is kind of fun. I enjoy the restaurant business. I enjoy the people.
And what about you, Temple?
He's a people person, I'm not. And so he was happy about it. And I wasn't unhappy, but it's not my forte.
What are some of the poignant moments in your life that really define who you are, who you came to be?
I think I've been drawing ever since I was a little child. And when I was at St. Mary's of Redford, they didn't have an art teacher, but I continued drawing. And I remember my mother taking 3 buses, at least 3 or 4 times, down to have me take a day's class at the DIA, because they saw the talent was there and they wanted to pursue it. And that's one thing I really remember.
Do you remember any of the fun activities that you did growing up?
Playing baseball. I like playing baseball. I used to go down with the gang of kids, and we used to go to the park and see everything that was going on.
What are some of the things that you loved about the city of Detroit?
Going downtown with my mom, Hudson's, Christmas time at Hudson's down there. A good neighborhood, lots of kids playing on the street, and of course, the traditional coming in when the street lights went on.
It's fun going downtown, and I used to go down to the ethnic festivals every weekend when they had it on the Detroit River before they built Hart Plaza. It was all gravel. And that was really nice. And then they built Hart Plaza.
Would your parents take you to downtown at all?
Yes, we would go downtown usually for the big events like Thanksgiving parade, and we were a drag racing family. wasn't like the other kids. I worked on 454 big black engines with my dad. I had to do tune-ups. I gapped all his spark plugs. Oh my God, I was such a tomboy when I was a kid.
How did your family end up coming to the Detroit area?
Well, my grandfather, when he was a young guy, him and his cousin decided they're from Poland and coming from a communist country, they wanted a better life, of course, like everybody else. So they came in and they landed in New York, and then they a little bit in Buffalo, and then my grandfather finally got a job at Ford Motor Company. You know, so he worked there for years and years.
What do you think made Ari Bakery so beloved in the area?
We hired all the same people. We brought all the people up from Indiana, and they were our down-home folks.
How many employees did you have at Ari Bakery?
300. They used to have an open house every other year, and you would see the product being made.
How do you see Detroit has changed over your lifetime?
Detroit has changed a lot. It's not, to me, when I grew up in Detroit, Detroit was more close-knit. I mean, we had long streets on Margaret. It was very long. We lived between Woodward and Nevada. That's like blocks of walking. And we knew everybody on both sides of the street. Everybody knew everybody. That's just not how it is nowadays. I don't think anywhere. People are more closed off. They're on their computer.
What are some of the things that you wish were still the same from, 50 years ago compared to now?
Oh, wow. I think life was so much simpler back then compared to today with all the technology and stuff. And a lot of that has just bypassed me because I'm not into all that electronic stuff, But a lot of it is very good, and very helpful for people. One of the other things that, you would think help define me is my love of animals. I love animals, all animals.
What would you want people to know the most about the life that you've lived so far?
I've lived a very full life. I've traveled almost all over the world. I've been to China and Italy 5 times and all over Eastern Europe and stuff. And the river cruises stopped at a different city or country every day, and you learned about how the people live and everything else, and that was important to me. I've lived a very exciting life and fulfilling life.
What are the lessons that you learned from your mother and dad that you want to continue?
To be honest with yourself, to be honest with other people, always look people in the eyes, what my dad always said. When you negotiate a deal, he negotiated lots of deals. And the other thing my dad taught me was great sportsmanship. He was a pro stock drag racer, so when he raced, whether he won or lost, he always went around and shook everyone's hand.
What advice can you give me right now to be able to live a life and live as vibrant as you guys are?
Well, what you should do, you should be able to get along with almost anybody. Anybody walk in, try to get along with them.
What do you want people to understand about the aging process and just where you are right now in this chapter of your life?
Just be glad that you're still alive and you can still, I said I wake up every day and thank God I can still walk, talk, and breathe and remember my name.
Watch One Detroit, Thursday at 7:30 p.m. You can find more at onedetroitpbs.org or subscribe to our social media channels and sign up for our One Detroit newsletter.
Brought to you in part by Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation, In Part Alliance, and by